Ladies and gentlemen, the 2024 Ohio State football season is here, and we are ready for the first weekend kickoff. It is brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. We are at the Fairway Columbus, and we are pumped to be talking about the opener on Saturday against Akron for Ohio State. That is Zach Boren. Over here, it's Michael Bennett. This is Bill Landis. I am Austin Ward. We'll have Berm joining us a little bit later on, but it's finally here. Zach, are you excited?
Oh, I've been waiting for this day forever, I feel like. I mean, I remember vividly sitting on a couch in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, watching the Cotton Bowl with Ohio State and Missouri, and as soon as that game ended, I was waiting for Saturday. Like, I could not wait. The offseason was coming. Man, it's going to be a special year. I just feel – you could almost feel it here in Columbus, Ohio, which I think gets people even more excited.
I wish I'd been in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, instead of at the Cotton Bowl. That sounds way better.
That would have been nice, yeah.
Mike, you're back in Columbus.
Back in Columbus.
We've missed you on the channel for the last several years.
I've missed being here, man. I was
out
fighting
there
to get back.
Actually, like getting a law degree and getting a real job.
Yeah,
could have been talking ball with us, but welcome back. Are you getting the?
Yeah, I can't wait. It's like I said, this will be the first time in a decade that I've been in Columbus for an Ohio State season that wasn't COVID. So I am ecstatic. The opportunity to go to games, to be in the city for a season is incredible. And then, as Zach said, this is a season that we've all kind of been waiting for. Every season is already exciting, but like the team that we've put together, the chip on the guys' shoulders, the adversity that they're going to have to overcome, I think this is going to be a really fun season.
Bill, do you wish there was some more offseason, or are you good?
No, I'm good. I'm good with the offseason being over. I want to piggyback off what Zach just said, because like this is my 11th season covering Ohio State. It's never felt like this before. I don't think like coming off the national championship was one thing, and the expectations that came with that, but like the build up to this season has felt very different, and the anticipation of it has felt very different, and all in a good way. But like this feels like a real one, like coming down the pike. I can't quite put my finger on why that is, but this feels like a season unlike any other. At least me personally have been around going into.
Yeah, almost the closest thing to it was like in 15, right? When you had all those guys coming back, Joey Bosa, Zeke, Mike Thomas, that core was there, but it still didn't have the aura that it does in Columbus, Ohio right now, and you can feel it. And it's almost like every year there's so much hype around Ohio State football. Let's be honest. It's one of the top 3 programs probably in the country, and every year there are expectations to win the national championship. But this year, more than others, for some reason, it's like previously people were almost not scared, but people are like, man, we're going to win the national championship, but we got to do this. Now it's like everyone kind of puffs their chest up a little bit more. Everyone kind of walks up on their toes like, man, we're here this year. We're ready.
Well, it's got to have something to do with who won the national championship, don't you think? I mean, this team wants to get back. This program feels like it needs to get back. Everyone has spent this entire offseason saying, oh, well, Ohio State only raised this NIL money, or they only recruited this way or went through the portal because Michigan won. And I think there's some element of truth to that. But also it's now been a decade since Mike put on a ring, so nobody has done that since. I think that all plays into it.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, because it is almost like a 10-year cycle, right? 22, 14. Here we are. It just kind of feels like it's the time, I guess.
Yeah, I'd also add kind of what you were saying is, there's just a lot of factors that go into making this season really exciting. Like, we haven't beat Michigan in 3 years. That's tough. And
actually 4 years.
4 years. 3 matchups, 4 years.
Yes.
Don't, Zach, you're trying to extend it?
It's true. It's true. That is just a desert for us. That is, for Columbus, for Ohio State players, for the coaches. I know for a fact that is something that everybody's worried about. Not worried about, but everybody's thinking about. It's the chip on the shoulder. And I'll say, ever since I left, I hadn't felt that chip. We'd had talent. We'd had great players. Guys want to win. But I didn't sense a nastiness. I didn't sense a need for greatness, a need to go get these wins in crunch time. And that's not to put down the players. That's not something you can make up. It's something that has to organically arise. And I think this year it has. There's just so much talent over the last decade without a national championship and dropping the ball against that team up north. I think that's why I'm very, very excited for this year.
Yeah, I hate talking about them right? But Austin, to your point, I think losing in 21 and 22 put a bad taste in this program's mouth, put a bad taste in the players' mouth. But when you lose to them in 23 and then they turn around and win the national championship, I just think it hit too close to home, right? When Georgia wins the national championship, it's kind of like, man, they're a top 3 program, right? It's just like we had a good year but just didn't get there. When Michigan wins it, it just puts a completely different taste in your mouth. And the way I've seen it, I shouldn't say see it, but the way I feel things have changed, and maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to give like some Ohio State folklore, insider information. When people come, when the team comes together before they break down or whatever, there's a famous saying that they say, and I think they still say it because they said it way before me. I know they said it when Mike was there, but before you break the team down, it's no one survives the storm but we. Show no mercy, everybody dies, right? You say that before the game, and it's one of those things of, hey, there's a storm coming. Who's creating the storm? Don't show any mercy, kind of everyone dies type thing. And I feel like that saying in the previous years was so much more of, can we survive the storm? How can we get out alive? Whereas in this year, with the way Michigan, won the national championship, now it's like, hey, we want to create the storm. We're coming for blood. It's not so much survival mode, and we've seen it in the past where Ohio State's great. They have so much talent, but some games in some off seasons, it's almost like, let's just get by and get to the season. Now there's some substance behind it. It almost feels like the guys in this team, the coaches, they want to go out and look for a fight, and we haven't seen that in a team in a long time.
I'll also add in, I attribute a lot of the success we had in 2014 with what happened in 2013, where we were sure we were going to the national championship. All we had to get over was this little hurdle with Michigan State. Yeah, they're okay, but what are they going to do against us? And we had it snatched out of our hands, right? Food snatched out of our mouth. And that whole 2014 offseason and 2014 season, we wanted blood. We were hungry for it. We wanted to be the storm. And I think that's kind of something – honestly, Ohio State's had their food snatched out of their mouth a couple times in the last couple of years. But last year, as we've said, especially, I think that just creates that anger, creates that brotherhood too, to let you go do some special things.
But you also think about it, and it's like, and I hate saying this, but Ohio State's always been the big bad monster. Yeah. They always have been. And it doesn't matter whoever you're playing Ohio State is your Super Bowl. And I think, I know, as an Ohio State program, you kind of have the mantra of, okay, I'm walking into a fight. Do I really want to fight this person? It's like a heavyweight versus a lightweight, right? and the lightweight's giving you everything. But then you just try and turn it on in certain matchups when you're like, okay, I'm playing Michigan. Guess what? Let's turn it on. Hey, we're going to play Georgia in the Final Four. Let's turn it on. This year, it's like they want to turn it on for every single game, and that is a different mindset than we've seen in probably since 2014, I would say.
Leave no doubt. Knock them out.
Getting fired up over here.
Aren't you ready to go play?
I'm sweating, man. I'm hyped up.
Aren't you ready?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
That's good stuff. I was gonna ask, like, Zach and Michael have been through this whole process. You know what training camp is like, the grind, the dog days. You're getting through August, and then you finally get there to the opener. It sounds like they're both ready to go play already on Saturday. But like, what's it like to go through that month, and then you have the final couple days to build up, and you know that the opener's coming? What is it like in that locker room right now?
The locker room's ready to rock. I know that because, you go into fall camp and you're finally so excited knowing like, hey, this isn't spring ball. This is actually fall camp, and we're starting, and those first couple days are great. And then you kind of get into – then you get kind of a weekend, and you're like, man, and those next 2 weeks are kind of like, whew, let's fight through this, right? Yeah. And then finally practices start tapering off. You start game planning for an opponent. Instead of literally having position battles and going toe-to-toe with your brothers on your left and your right, now guess what? Now you're actually like, we get to go hit someone else. I don't want to say the locker room flips, but it goes from, hey, we're in training camp, we're grinding against one another. There might be some tempers, which I know we've seen this year more than others, and that's another great thing. I love when guys might fight in practice and do those things. But now it's like, hey, now we get to go fight someone else. And you just kind of feel the locker room start to come together.
Yeah, I mean, first thing I thought was they're probably just hungry. Like, everything Zach said, I don't want to echo too much of it, but in camp you're good against good, and everybody's trying to feel each other out, see who the leaders are, build that toughness, get the playbook under them. But in the NFL, they say you don't get paid for games, you get paid to practice. And in college, you get paid now to do the off season,
Right
and
on.
then the reward is to play the season. And so I think these guys are ready to go. They've been together for a long time. We got a lot of seniors on the squad, a lot of juniors, and so they're just ready, man. You're hungry. You know what's around the corner. Everybody's sick and tired of camp. I'm sure it's a lot lighter than when we were there, but
There are no two-a-days.
There are no
more
disgusting,
Which is
Disgusting.
wild.
2 days weren't that bad. They were hard, but anyways, I digress. But yeah, they're hungry to go be in that stadium again, to prove what they can do. And as we talked about, they've got that chip on their shoulder. I can't imagine these guys aren't hungry to show people what they've been working on.
Bill, what have you made of the mentality of this team throughout August?
Yeah, I think everything these guys have said has been kind of palpable, right? And I think there's a lot that goes into it. I do think it's Michigan winning a national title. It feels like the universe is like out of balance, and they're trying to put it back together a little bit, kind of thing. And sometimes it takes something that dramatic, I think, to kind of point you back in the right direction. I get I didn't play. I'm not a high level athlete. I didn't play for Ohio State, but I would understand when you do, how it can be hard to kind of bring that every single game, every single year when so much is expected of you. I think slippage happens sometimes, right? We see it all the time. I think this team got refocused last year. It got refocused in the offseason, and maybe that's just being a veteran team. I don't know, but it's definitely different. I've picked up on it. They wouldn't even have to say anything. You can just tell by the way the guys carry themselves that this is a different mindset going into the year than I've seen in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, slippage, if that's the term, or losing streak to Michigan. This group of veterans, they haven't accomplished anything, Mike. It was taken, I guess, for granted for so long. You were going to win gold pants. You were going to play in Indianapolis. You were going to go to a playoff. You were going to compete for national championship, and that hasn't happened for Jack Sawyer. That hasn't happened for Emeka Ibuka. That hasn't happened for JT Tuimoloau, Denzel Burke, on down the line. You can't have that complacency because you haven't accomplished anything. That's a different you mentioned hunger. That didn't exist for these guys.
Which is insane because I think they've lost in their 4-year career 4 games,
right?
Maybe 5.
Yeah.
That's so. I mean, when you said they didn't accomplish anything, I was like, whoa, and then
I'm only talking about by Ohio State standards.
I was about to say that. I mean, they haven't beat our rival. They haven't won a Big Ten championship, and they haven't won a national championship. So, like you said, by Ohio State standards, that's rough. So I would expect them. Somebody's going to have some crazy speeches. They have to play with fire. And, every time I get on the radio every year, that's what I'm looking for. Is I think I've been pretty critical of them a couple times in the past. Maybe that first Michigan loss, I was disgusted.
Right.
Because you don't see the fire. I played with guys like Zach Boren where it was just, we were nasty. We wanted blood. We wanted to let the other team know. We didn't just want to beat the other team. We wanted them to understand that we were better than them as people, as football players, and as men. And I know that, maybe that's an antiquated thought, but that's what it is when you step on that field. And
No, that's real.
That's real. That's real. So, that's what I'm hoping to see from these guys, and I can't imagine that they don't have that in them. So that's what we'll see.
Well, I don't know if we can turn the temperature up any higher than that, but we do have
Hot.
the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems hottest take.
It's literally hot.
It's
I told you I'm sweating.
it's the hot takes already, and it's also having some fun at the Fairway Columbus. But Zach, I want to start with you because you like to save it till the end, and then really
I'm
crank it.
always at the end.
I
know.
All right, fine. Bill, you go first.
I like hitting with the bases loaded.
Driving in runs. All right.
Yeah.
Bill, what's your hottest take?
My
for the
hottest
season. This is the season kickoff show. We're not really talking about Akron. This is the first time I might have even mentioned their name.
I don't know how you would quantify it. I was actually talking with somebody in the sports information department about this on Wednesday. If you look in the history of Ohio State, there are some defenses that in the 50s allowed 4 points per game because no one threw the ball, right? So if I'm not saying this is going to be the best scoring defense Ohio State's ever had.
Don't do it.
Well, that's not hot if you won't say it.
I just don't. It's impossible unless they shut out 8 teams.
Saying the last 10 years or decade or
no,
20
but
years.
I think
You gonna say less than 10 single digits a game?
that's tough. It hasn't happened since 2011. 2011 Alabama allowed fewer than 10 points per game.
Yeah.
I think this defense. This is going to be an all-time defense. not even in Ohio State, but like when we talk about the college football playoff era and we talk about the LSU offense and we talk about the Alabama offense in 2020, like these all-time great outfits, the end of this year, we will talk about Ohio State's defense in the same terms because it will be the forward-facing side of the ball of the national championship team, of the first national champion of the expanded playoff era.
You have to give us some kind of fact, not facts, stat, so we can hold you to it.
Give us some
Okay,
parameters.
it'll be the best scoring defense Ohio State has had. We'll call it since the end of Woody's tenure.
Okay.
Wow.
So it's 1980.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The
I'll go.
best in 40+ years.
I'll go. Bill, I forgive you for taking mine. That's fine. I'm hyped up on this defense,
just
too.
undercut it in Price is Right style.
That's right.
I'll give my own, but I'll also add I would be disappointed in this defense if they didn't average less than or letting up, less than 21 points per game.
Okay.
If they're giving, if we blow somebody out 56-28, the defense needs to look at themselves and figure out what that was.
So you're saying throughout the entire season?
Throughout the entire season,
they're never going to give up more than 21.
they shouldn't.
Okay.
But my hot take is I think Will Howard will be very good, but I think he needs to prove it. And I think that this first week is, it's Akron. But my eyes are on him. Like, I'm going to love this defense, all that kind of stuff. But as a transfer guy, coming off of the QB performance of the last couple of years or the last year, I think all of Columbus's eyes are on him. And, a lot of us are just ready to be like, yeah, he's the man. I want to see it. I'm excited to see it.
What's he got to do for you?
Make good decisions. Execute well. I mean, it's tough because I'll say, Kyle McCord was in a tough spot. He was following 5 all-timers.
Yeah.
It's just a ridiculous stream of quarterbacks before him. And, Will kind of is in a slightly different position. But those are still the standards I set him to. Maybe not C.J. Stroud standards, but I want to see him complete passes. I want to see him make good decisions. I want to see him have poise in adversity. I want to see him approach a game week with respect for the opponent and then execute as he should execute. I'm not looking for perfection, but I do want him to have the poise and the execution that I expect out of a Ryan Day quarterback.
I love that. Zach, I'll take this so that you can back cleanup.
I'm coming in hot.
I hope so. I'm excited for it.
Okay.
I can feel the heat just coming off of you right now. I think with all this attention on the arrival of Caleb Downs and the return of JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer and Tyleek Williams, and Cody Simon, the excitement for Sonny Styles, Denzel Burke is going to be a first-round pick. Davis Sniggbenosin is going to be a first-round pick. All these things are true. This defense is great. The most important player on Ohio State's defense that never gets talked about is Jordan Hancock. I think he's the defensive MVP for Ohio State. I think he is the straw that stirs Jim Knowles' drink of the safety-driven defense.
His coffee?
His coffee. His McDonald's coffee cup. You put a little Jordan Hancock straw in there. That's what you mix it up with. The nickel spot is so critical, and I think that Jordan Hancock was made in a lab for Jim Knowles to use to expand all the different looks, all the different pressures, all the different coverages. I think he's the one that does it. I think Jordan Hancock is actually the most important player of this defense.
He's a stud.
Can I put a little spice on that?
Yeah, spice it up.
Thorpe Award?
I would vote for him.
Okay.
I'll vote for him right now.
No games played.
I mean, I don't think he will win it because I'm
Don't
not
ruin my hot take.
Sorry.
like some of it winning those awards, and you know this, Bill, because this is the stuff that the players can't relate to when we're voting for this stuff. Everyone across the country is going to look for numbers, and I don't know. Like, I think Jordan Hancock can have the 5 interceptions that he's saying he wants this year. I think he can score a touchdown. I think he might score a touchdown on Saturday. All those things can be true, but like Caleb Downs is probably going to make a ton of tackles, and he's got name recognition. And if Ohio State, the quarterback has to throw on somebody, and if they choose to throw on Davis Sniggbenosin, then he's probably going to have a lot of interceptions, and that might help him win a Thorpe. Like, I don't know if he can do enough to win it, but he should.
There's going to be a lot of eyeballs on Ohio State secondary. So
Tons.
Anyone there, I think, has a shot at it.
Yeah. Tons. The thing is, I think the front seven's going to be so good. Someone's going to have to take a shot. And if you look at the big games that Ohio State is going to play, and especially Oregon, which I think is going to have every eyeball across the country. Oregon's going to throw the football against Ohio State, right? Dylan Gabriel, they are going to try and spread him out and throw him, and then let Dylan Gabriel use his legs to make Ohio State pay. The secondary's good. They're going to have eyes on him.
Yeah.
All right, so you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay. So mine are more team-focused than player-focused, but
How many you got?
I got a couple.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So the first one's pretty easy. Ohio State's going to be the first college football team ever in the history of college football to win 16 games in a season, meaning they win the national championship. Okay. They might go 16-0, or if they don't, they'll go 16-1 and still win it, right? Meaning they have to maybe lose the Big Ten championship. Then I'm going to take a step further. You talked about Will Howard. I'm telling you what. The dude has come on so much from where he was in the beginning of spring ball to where he is now. He has weapons at his disposal across wherever he wants to go. Tight end, wide receiver, running back. I mean, the list goes on and on. The depth is there. Will Howard's going to win the Heisman Trophy. He is. And the reason why I say that isn't there might be better quarterbacks, and I say quarterbacks as in gifted passers, gifted quarterbacks in the country. But what Will Howard's going to be able to do with his legs and him being able to get the ball even quickly to some of these wide receivers and they can take it 80 yards in a heartbeat, his stats are going to be so big. I mean, Will Howard's going to be a better JT Barrett, and I think the world of JT Barrett, right? So there you go. And then my third one is this Ohio State team will win 4 postseason awards when it comes to players, whether that be the Thorpe, Heisman, obviously, Maxwell, whatever it is, Lombardi. There will be 4 postseason
What about the
award
Doak Walker?
winners. There'll be 4.
You're just not going to pick the 4. You're just
I'm
saying
not
it's gonna
picking
be
the 4. There will be 4.
Well, that's not hot enough, is it?
That's
There'll
pretty
be
hot.
4. There'll be 4.
That's pretty hot.
I love the Doak Walker, except my opinion on the Doak Walker.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
would probably not.
We'll save that
ideal.
for the second half of the show when we get into some more predictions for how this year is going to play out. Because, frankly, we're not going to talk that much about Akron. Bill, do you have a score prediction for Saturday? I'm not sure that you've given one at any point this week.
I do have one. I'm going to contradict myself because on Bold Peas, I called for a shutout.
Uh-huh.
But then I went on the record previously with a different score.
Okay.
56-3.
56-3.
So they cover.
I guess so, yeah.
That's a cover and an over.
It is a cover.
And you were really good at that last year. So that
I was, yeah, so the opposite of both will happen.
So that's perfect. All right, we are going to take a break here. We're going to let Bill go refill his glass and get something else. And we're going to bring Berm in, and we're going to talk about some season-long predictions in here at Weekend Kickoff, which is brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems.
Inspired design. Ultra-quiet operation. To you, it's a Bryant Evolution cooling system. To us, it's the ultimate machine.
All set.
For the dealer nearest you, visit Bryant.com.
The second half starts now. Weekend Kickoff rolling along here at Fairway Columbus. And this was by special request. By the way, Berm is here. Do you have a hot take? Did you want to throw one in there?
Hot take.
Cheers to you.
To football. Welcome back, everyone, to 2024. It is 2024, right?
It's been 2024 for a while.
We've given a lot of hot takes throughout the last few weeks on Snap Judgments and all the other dailies.
You still have one left.
I have
know
plenty
you
of
do.
them. I'm built on hot takes. Some people are just built different.
You are.
And I'm hashtag built different.
You are.
Berm's are going to be they end up with like the #1 recruiting class.
That would be a hot take. They've never finished with the #1 recruiting class in the history of the modern internet era. So,
and that will not happen, or it will.
So,
is there
it
a
will not
vintage
happen.
internet era that I'm not aware of?
Yeah,
I think it's
the
all
one,
modern.
The one that, from like '83 when Al Gore first invented the internet.
Got it.
They had a really good
Did
class.
you just say it will not happen?
No, they're not going to finish with the #1 class
Why?
because they're not in the SEC.
But I thought they were going to sign 35 people.
They've got 24 commitments right now. I think they'll have 20. I'm sorry, they have 25 right now. I think 26 will come on Saturday. But to get to 30 and to win the recruiting title, you're going to need like 3 or 4 like big time guys, and there's not a lot of those
Big
guys.
time.
Big time, slap de boss, and they're not really in that.
What's the correlation between winning, having the top class and winning the national championship?
It helps.
Okay.
Yeah, it helps a lot.
Is that good?
I mean, it kind of,
You'll be surprised to know
Mike
this.
actually wants more 3-stars.
The better players you have, the better your team is.
That's a novel idea.
So,
Which also means the
but it has
more
to be-
money you have to pay.
which also,
I like a steady injection of 3 stars.
Yeah.
I think it brings a lot to a team.
I think when you look at what creates a team, sometimes when you have too many superstars, things can get a little bit haywire. There's nobody likes to play sports next to the diva. Nobody likes to have a teammate who's a diva. So sometimes to have the kids that are from the mud a little bit, like it helps. I think it puts you in a position where your team is built a little bit #built different.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Wow.
Builds character.
That's true.
What's your hot take?
Got to have a little shankability.
My hot take is. Are we talking about for the Akron game or for the season? Or
This is the season long. We are not talking about Akron.
I was not paying attention to you guys at all in the first segment.
Cool.
Did anybody say that Ohio State was going to go 16 wins this
Yeah,
year?
Zach did.
Did anybody say Will
Really?
Howard was
Come on,
gonna-
Berm.
Did anybody say Will Howard was going to win the Heisman?
Yeah, Zach did.
Man.
Oh, man.
Zach took all the hot takes.
That took about
That's
4.
crazy.
Hot takes.
That's crazy. Anybody talk about the Doak Walker?
No. I said that it
tell us
existed,
about
but Zach wasn't willing to make a selection there.
No, here's a hot take.
Maybe you should have been listening to
Jeremiah Smith
He's
is
good at
going
football.
to be a Heisman finalist
Whoa!
That's a big one.
in this season
That's a hot take.
as a true freshman
I
wide
like it.
receiver.
I actually, I like it.
I don't know that people, and we've talked about him a lot, like for the last 8 months. I'm not sure people truly understand how different he is as opposed to like every other freshman that we've ever seen at Ohio State. And that's no offense to you guys, who were both wonderful freshmen.
I was pretty.
Yeah, I have a.
Yeah, you were good.
Yeah, here's a question for you. Marv runs out as wide receiver on Saturday.
Uh-huh.
At that point on Saturday, who's better, Jeremiah Smith or Marvin Harrison Jr.? Did I say Did I say Marv
A
runs out?
senior
No.
version of Marv? versus-
No. Right now,
that Berm's like
right
I don't
now,
know. Get out of here.
Marvin and Jeremiah Smith. When Jeremiah Smith runs out on Saturday, if Marv was in
So
Ohio
if
State
Marv
uniform,
had come back,
yes.
So as
who's better?
Marvin would be wide receiver 1.
Okay, I'm not asking wide receiver 1.
Jeremiah Smith, from an athletic standpoint, is different. And Marvin is like
he's an alien.
wildly underrated from an athletic standpoint.
Yes.
People, I don't think, ever gave him enough credit for just the physical tools he had. All you ever talked about is how much he worked, how he was there every day and all night. And like those things are cool. And you talk about his dad and being a Hall of Fame son. And
I saw that man turn his leg around and plant on it as he caught the ball.
no, he's done incredible things. But
He's an alien.
Yeah.
like
I think Berm's winding this up, Zach, to say that he thinks Jeremiah is better than Marv already.
the idea
That is wild
That's
to me.
insane.
The idea is that Jeremiah Smith is going to be that guy without having to do the 4 extra years of being there all day, all night, and living in the Woody Hay. He's that good naturally. And if Will Howard can just become slightly above average at pushing the ball down the field, I think Jeremiah Smith is going to be a Heisman finalist because
I think people are going to be surprised at how well Will Howard's going to be able to push the ball down the field.
I'm with you. It's not been talked about nearly enough. He's been like
No doubt.
completely denigrated as a passer.
I think people are thinking like Joe Bowserman as a passer and he can just run it. No, the dude can sling it.
Yeah, he's good. He's going to be good. I mean, I truly believe, and we've talked about it on plenty of other shows. I've said for the last month, I think Will Howard will be a Heisman finalist. The more I think about what Jeremiah Smith is capable of, if the offense is clicking and it allows him to go out there and be single covered a lot of times, which will never happen again in his career.
Right.
Like, it's going to open some doors for
I
him.
think it makes sense.
The other thing is,
Have you ever seen him?
No.
He's a freak, man. Like,
Yeah.
freak.
Zach,
P-
you've been at practice.
I have.
knows
how would you answer your own
I'm
question?
not
That's-
hyperbolizing, right? Like, I mean, you've seen it.
How would I answer that? I would say this. I would say this. Right now, game 1 Game one, I would take Marv, and the only reason why is because I think Marv was very smart when he could read coverage. He knew exactly what to do. He could check different routes. Like, I don't think Jeremiah Smith is there yet. Like, being able to literally pre-snap, know the coverage, bam, I'm going, I'm turning my head, I'm getting the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, halfway through the year, you asked me that question, I might say Jeremiah Smith.
I'm always just so much more hesitant to give guys like their crown before they even step foot on the field. Now, like I said, I haven't seen you guys.
You should be hesitant. That's the problem.
Yeah. And maybe
I want to be hesitant about it.
And we've seen a lot of success from freshman receivers, so I can understand how what would make this guy not super successful. But I guess I always go from it from a framework of like alignment, and you're not stepping straight from high school to college and just being dominant to be winning the Heisman or something.
See, wide receiver's a little bit different because those guys are playing 7-on-7 for so long. So then when you get into the real college game, that translates so much, right? You go to a summer camp that Berm's at, taking video of you, offensive lineman, doesn't translate so much of when bullets are flying. There's other linemen in pass pro right next to you. Guys are in pads. They're able to grab you a little bit more rather than just a T-shirt.
Yeah,
but especially now in a world where you can't touch a wide receiver.
Correct.
Like for a guy like that, 6'4", 218 pounds, running 23.18 miles an hour.
6'4", 218.
As a freshman, running over 23 miles an hour.
He doesn't look like a freshman. It's
And when he says 6'4", 218, every time I see him, I'm like, he's like 6'5", 225 when you look at him.
He is not a freshman in any way, shape, or form other than the letters FR next to his name.
Yeah.
And I'll just put it, the FR stands for real. He's like different.
I thought you were going to say freaky.
He's different, man.
Yeah.
Like, he's different.
For real.
I'm
Okay.
pumped.
Okay, good hot take.
6'4",
Okay,
218, running over 23 miles an hour. The kid's going to be single covered all year long.
Yeah.
That is going to be, and if he's not, God bless you, because then you're opening up the door for Carnell Tater and Emeka Ibuka and anyone else. So
I really think that's the problem of defending Ohio State. I mean,
It's been the problem for the last however many 8 years.
So there's my hot take. That took a lot longer to get out than I wanted it to.
That was
but
a
I'm
long
standing
hot
by
take.
it.
yeah,
It's a strong one.
yeah, that really.
I'm excited for you to see him.
I am too.
Ate up the time there because Zach wanted to get to a segment in the second half because this is a season kickoff.
Because we're not talking about Akron.
We're
Why
not
don't you
talking
just call
about
it like it is.
No, this is a season kickoff brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. That we were going to make some predictions not about Akron, but about the season-long individual leaders for Ohio State statistically. And Zach, I want us to just start with the rushing game because you dropped a little teaser, a spoiler in the first half of the show. Who's going to lead Ohio State in rushing?
So, here's the thing about that.
Are you going to say Will Howard?
I'm. Oh my God!
Are we done with hot takes?
How'd you know? I love Travion Henderson. I think he's been great for Ohio State. His leadership this offseason has been amazing. Quinshon Judkins is special. And when I say that, I was the biggest fan of J.K. Dobbins. I was the biggest fan of Ezekiel Elliott. I think Quinshon Judkins is every bit of those two and what he can do with coming out of the backfield, running. Like, I don't even know if you could combine Zeke and J.K., but he has so many of the same.
What a scary thought that was.
He has so many of the same traits. It's almost like he's a bigger J.K. Like, J.K. was so shifty. Zeke would put his foot in the ground and go and hit the home run. Quinshon can do that. Zeke was also very good in pass protection and catching the ball in the backfield. Quinshon is great at catching the ball in the backfield and pass pro. So it's like you take the best things about those two guys and you morph them into Quinshon Judkins. And I'm not hyping him up because, he's a transfer here and all this stuff. He's just a dude that I think fits this offense more than we've had in a very long time because we've seen the past couple of years. It's just been tough running the football.
Yeah. See, I am, I guess maybe the Ohio State historian of our little band of misfits.
I did not know what he was going to call us.
I didn't.
I think Ezekiel Elliott is the best running back to ever play at Ohio State. Okay,
Eddie George?
Zeke's better.
I
Griffin?
would agree. I think Eddie.
Overall player,
Yeah.
Zeke is the best player. The totality of his career, even better than Archie, Zeke was.
Mike was there for the 2014 run, and he's still naming other people over
Zeke
here.
is incredible. He's incredible, but.
But I don't think you can say Archie and Zeke because
No, they're different.
that's like
Different
comparing
eras.
apples to people say apples to
Apples
oranges,
to
but more like
bananas.
apples to bananas.
Yeah, it's a totally
Yes.
different
Correct.
shaped fruit.
Yes.
I'm not even sure banana is a fruit. Is a banana a
Yes.
fruit?
Yeah.
It is?
It's pretty
Fact
simple,
check.
yeah.
Yes.
America, fact check that for us.
Apples and tomatoes.
Yeah.
If Quinshon Judkins is able to have that sort of impact in this season, then Ohio State wins the national championship running away.
I said they're going to win 16 games.
All right, cool.
That's what I said.
I just wanted to,
That
my
changes
goal
nothing.
here. My goal here really is to continue to find ways to pin you down on these conversations.
Quinshon Judkins is going to be
So, what
legit.
was your actual prediction? That he's winning the rushing title on the team?
Yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
Just the leading rusher.
For sure.
Okay. Yeah. Does anybody disagree? with that?
Quinshon.
Yeah.
Quinshon. Okay.
Yeah, I think he'll. But I don't know that. I mean, you're talking like I think 1,200 yards is going to win the rushing title on this team.
Ooh,
No,
I say
no,
two.
no,
I
no,
don't
no,
think so.
no.
'Cause you're gonna-
Quinshon Judkins is going for 1,722 yards.
I'm not suggesting he won't. I'm saying at 1,200 would win it.
Yeah, correct. I think the second leading rusher is going to be Will Howard.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Now we got to the hot take.
I can see that.
Okay.
Listen, I
Okay.
love Travion. I love Travion,
yeah.
and he's had so much potential throughout his career. He's got to stay on the field.
Yeah.
He's got to stay on the field. And I think if he stays on the field, then he'll be special.
Yeah.
And he'll have the season he's wanted to have for the last 3 years. And Ohio State will be ecstatic. I'll be ecstatic. But I think Quinshon has a good chance of really taking that title.
Travion's great, and I like Travion, but if he stays healthy, to Mike's point, if he stays healthy, I think as the season goes on, they will start using him, especially in Chip Kelly's offense, as that gimmicky back, right? Everyone,
very athletic.
very athletic. He's going to be the guy that comes in that they do different things with. They run wheel routes with. They do misdirection screens to him. Like, he's going to be that guy. I don't think he's going to be the first down, second down, getting to, third down and short. Like, that's going to be Quinshon.
But if there's a real, like, we can talk about the numerical output for Quinshon Judkins and what we expect. And if you're talking 1,700 yards, Bill said he thinks he's going to get 30 touchdowns this year. Like, there's
Very well could.
if there's the most value he provides to me is the ability
lot of
to
touchdowns.
maybe keep Travion Henderson healthy by taking some of the stuff off his plate. And if you get the best of Travion with the best of Quinshon,
But see, that's not where I think he brings the best bang for his buck. I think the best bang for the buck with Q is that finally we have a running back.
he called him Q.
Q.
Best friends.
Finally, we have a running
Call
back
it off.
that can run inside the tackles and do short yardage. How many times have we had issues with short yardage the past couple of years?
A lot.
But
A lot.
Is
And
that
I
the
think
running back or the O-line?
I think it has a lot to do with the running back.
I think it has something to do with the quarterback, too. There
It
was
has
no
something
threat
to
the
do.
quarterback
It has
running
something
the
to do
ball.
with the quarterback as well. But think about Zeke. Think about even J.K. Dobbins. They knew how to find that slip, that little
Braxton
thing.
Miller and Jake and
Block it
Jake
for
Sinclair.
two and get four.
Correct, right? And be able to get through there, and we haven't been
I'd
able
like to
to do
say
that.
the 2013 2014 O-lines were raw. They were nasty O-lines. And once again, I'm not taking anything away from Zeke or Braxton or any of them. They're like absolutely incredible. But and we've had some talent on the O-line since then. But I just think about the mentality of the O-line, the amount of guys that O-line that went into the NFL from O-lines in 2013 and 2014. And so we can say Zeke and we can say Braxton and we can say these guys were incredible because they were. But we have to mention that O-line was a game changer.
What about the center in
You're not going to
2014?
get an argument.
He's good.
You're not going to get an argument from me. I have spent a lot of time in the last 2 months, like trying to manifest big, stinky, dirty offensive linemen.
slobs.
Yeah.
Bring it back. I
I
don't know if
want
they
the
still
He
call
won't
themselves
say slobs. Like
I want the slobs back, and I think little things like Ryan Day talking on his coaching show on Thursday, his coach's show about how they're not wearing suits to the stadium anymore. They're going to wear sweats and
They're staying downtown instead of
they're
at the
staying downtown.
Blackwell.
I think that
Let's go. That's some grit.
yeah, like dude, I'm telling you, I'm
let's spice it up by leaving campus
I-
and going
Yes.
downtown. Like,
Yes.
it's ritzier
it
downtown.
changes your mentality.
No, we're
I
going
actually
to where
don't.
it's dirtier.
Going to the
I-
dirt.
I like the Blackwell.
The Blackwell is perfect for the neighborhood. I actually don't like that part.
If the Blackwell ever goes on a garage sale of selling their beds and pillows, sign me up. I will buy 10
Good
of them.
sleep.
Oh my
Good
God.
sleep.
But you also
The
have to
best
understand
beds ever.
it's chaos there. You know, I mean,
No, it's not. They have a great.
there's still fans there. There's still chaos.
I love the Blackwell. I love being able to walk to the.
What do you
Now,
think
these
about
guys
this
did
idea?
it multiple times.
I had a conversation earlier on Thursday with
he doesn't want me
Austin
to talk
and
about
Bill.
the Blackwell.
And my
I got to
thought
do
was
best Fridays in football. They should not be giving up the Blackwell.
my thought was this: having less guys showing up to the game with like jewel encrusted satchels is probably a good thing, right?
Has that been happening?
Yeah.
They've got
You said
money,
you,
Mike.
you
They've
said
got
you
money.
haven't
They
been
got
here
money.
for 10 years.
Yeah.
Yes, it's been happening.
Let's just say they show up and Saturday morning walking to the stadium sometimes looks like
It's a fashion show.
Yeah.
Instead of a bunch of I said it to these guys earlier. I want Air Force Ones or Timberlands, and I want sweats, and I want camouflage, and I don't.
And headbands.
You don't think
No,
that can become
say
a
it.
fashion show?
Say it.
Okay, I said I'd like to see handguns and camouflage. That may be a stretch, but what I want to see is guys that come to the stadium with one thing in mind, and that
To
is
be the storm.
beating the crap
Be
out
the
of the
storm.
people you're playing against,
Yeah.
and not worrying about how you look in pictures.
And
They're
show no
always-
mercy.
Listen, they're always going to worry about how they look in pictures, whether you put them in a suit or sweats or handguns and camo. They are always
As
going to
the-
be.
as
That's
as
where
as
they're-
the guy taking pictures, I get that.
They're
And
18 to 22-year-old young men with some money and some fame. There's no way that you're going to be like, just think about the game.
black Air Force Ones.
Zach, we
Sweatpants.
changed up the crew for weekend kickoff this
And
year,
it went off.
and now we're talking about bringing handguns.
You're reminding
I'm
me of
channeling-
someone else who was on this panel.
I'm channeling my inner Bob.
Thank you.
Somebody has to do it.
Handguns and
Anyway,
camo.
Quinshon Judkins is going to lead
Okay.
the team in rushing.
Okay.
How about receiving? Total yards.
I think we already said it, right?
Yeah,
I don't think I don't think it's true.
You want to know something?
I think Emeka will do that. I'm going to start. Emeka.
I love Emeka. Absolutely love Emeka. Love the dude to death. I think he's going to be great. I think he'll have a 1,000-yard season. Jeremiah Smith.
I actually think Emeka Ibuka will lead the team in receiving yards. I think that Jeremiah
Then
Smith,
how's Jeremiah Smith going to be a
because
Heisman
he's going to have
finalist?
1,100 yards and like 22 touchdowns,
Okay.
and Emeka's going to have like 1,200 yards and 13 touchdowns. And the 22 touchdowns are going to be spectacular and memorable. And people are gonna
I
love it.
bet. I would say. I bet they have 3,000-yard receivers this year.
Holy.
Hot take.
I almost said something
Who's
I
the
shouldn't
third?
on this show. Jeez.
Cardinal Tate.
Wowza.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Emeka, with the variety of ways that Ohio State and Chip Kelly and Ryan Day are going to use him,
You're the guy not drinking.
his numbers his numbers are going to be off the charts. He's going to break every career receiving record for Ohio State, and I just don't think you can take him away. If they do a lot of the stuff moving him around the formation that Ryan Day wanted to do with Jackson Smith and Jigba and then wasn't able to do a couple of years ago due to the injury, I don't know how you defend him. Like, he's going to come out of the backfield. He's going to be doing misdirection stuff. It's play action. It's RPO. Like, Jeremiah Smith is awesome. I'm not trying to – like, it's two great players. But in terms of overall production throughout the course of the year, I think Emeka does more things in terms of his versatility than Jeremiah Smith will, and that will give him better numbers.
And I
Love
think
him
he's-
as a
I think
player.
he's going to get some cheap yards, and I mean that in like the jet sweep game, the
Emeka?
podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think Jeremiah will get those, but I do think he will have a bigger collection of touchdowns and the splash plays.
I
that
think
people-
Emeka's going to be unbelievable.
that people care about for the
I'll say Emeka, but I'll also say I think it depends on who has between the two of them who has the most success through the first 3-4 games, because then that's two teams are gonna lock in on, and so the other guy. I think they both have the potential, and I really just think it's who the other teams shift the safety to.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is Emeka is so shifty and Emeka is so smart, right? He is that receiver that doesn't have to beat you down the field, but in that 5 to 15 yard range can beat anyone. And so I always feel like the defense, no matter what, is going to shift towards that, because that 5 to 15 yard range is the drive killer, right? I would rather them take a shot to Jeremiah Smith all day long than give up an 8 yard gain that's a drive extender, right? So I always think everyone's going to be cheating to Emeka. He's the senior. He's the polished route runner. He does all those things. I just think Jeremiah, they're just be like, hey, I'm throwing it up, and he's going to make plays.
And as Will Howard said
agree
this
with
week,
Bryant.
like if it's one-on-one, they're open.
Yeah.
For sure.
We did see that in one of the open practices in August. It was like 4th and 3. They dialed up a shot. Well, I don't even know if they called it, but Will Howard saw one-on-one for Jeremiah Smith, and I think the play's called F it. JJ's down there somewhere.
That's
So
what Chip
just-
Kelly told us it was called.
So just throw
Yeah.
it down there. All right.
I don't know what F it stands for.
That's the Randy Moss a classic.
Freshman
Freshman it.
Freshman it's down there. For real it. I don't know. How about maybe we'll get some more variety here with the sack leader, Zach.
I doubt it.
I like this one, but here's a little bit of a hot take. You ready for this?
Insane.
I think it's going to be Tyleik Williams.
Whoa! Okay.
I think it's going to be Tyleik Williams that leads the team. And the reason why I say that is Jack Sawyer came on strong. I think he's a great player. JTT's a great player. I actually think I love Caden Curry. You guys know that. Kenyatta Jackson's going to get a lot of playing time as well. I think Tyleik is going to get more of one-on-one blocks this year because of those edge guys coming on, because of pressures that now you're going to be able to see Jim Knowles use, especially having Caleb Downs and Latham Ransom at safety. Yeah. Jim Knowles is going to dial up pressure all day long, and so you're going to get those one-on-one blocks on the inside, and we all know those guys on the edge can get a pass rush up the field. Quarterback's going to step up into Tyleik Williams' arms.
I totally agree with everything he said.
Defensive tackle love.
I'm going to go with JTT. It is really hard for a defensive tackle to get more sacks than defensive ends, especially in this game. It's just you, as a defensive end, you're automatically in a one-on-one. Yeah, maybe they come chip you, but it's not like JTT or Jack or Bosa or Chase where you have to choose one of them. You have to chip them every single play. They're very talented and they can go be productive. But they can move. The offense can move the chipper around. They can help with a lot of people. I think Tyleik is very talented, and so if teams sleep on him, he's going to cause problems. But I think JTT, like Jack, I think is somebody who's going to have more success in the NFL than he does in college. He plays really strong.
Jack in a 3-4 defense as a 5-tech is going to be unbelievable.
He's going to be nasty, and so I think he's going to do well this year. But I think we're really going to see him shine in the NFL. While JTT, I think he's so quick. He's got such good technique. He's got fluid hips. He plays with great effort. I think it would be very hard for somebody to get more sacks than him if he's performing to the level that we expect from him.
Okay.
It's Mitchell Melton who's going to be the guy who leads this team in sacks.
Really?
Yeah.
Say it again?
That's the hottest take.
Mitchell Melton, he said.
Mitchell Melton. That's the hottest take you could have made.
He's the best pass rusher on the team.
Is he going to play?
Yeah, he's going to have to because he's the best pass rusher on the team.
That is the hottest take.
And he's healthy. And I think
that's the hottest
take.
He's
not a starter, right?
He's
not.
But I do.
He's
been
injured.
I believe when Jim Knowles tells us that they're going to play some 5-down stuff. And I think that there's a very real possibility that we see Mitchell Melton lined up on the edge with Jack Sawyer or with JT Tuimoloau, Tyleik Williams, and Jack Sawyer, and maybe Kenyatta Jackson all lined up out there at the same time. Yeah. And I think that's going to be a real problem for people around the league. And if you get Mitchell Melton out there one-on-one on most tackles.
But then when you do that, which I agree, I like the 5-down. When you do that, you're taking Jordan Hancock out of the game.
I'm okay with that. If you get to the quarterback, I don't need Jordan Hancock on the field. Yeah. So the problem that you have. The reason you've needed Jordan Hancock out there is because you haven't got to the quarterback. So if you can get to the quarterback in under 3 seconds, go ahead.
Yeah.
So you put Mitchell Melton out there with Kenyatta Jackson out there, and you put Jack and JT on the inside with Tyleik.
I agree. I think they could do some deadly combos if you put Jack and JTT as like the 3-techs in some kind of pass rush.
So I'm just choosing to believe what Jim Knowles has alluded to.
Okay.
If he wants to lie to us, Jim, do you want to lie to us, Jim? If Jim wants to be a liar, then fine.
Yeah.
But I don't think he wants to.
Mitchell Melton. Okay, that's a good hot take too.
Go ahead. Let's say that he's being upfront and honest about the desire to create more pressures and blitz more. The direct beneficiary of that and the best blitzer on this team is going to be Sonny Styles. And Sonny Styles is going to be in position. Like, I think that this could lead the team because of what Berm is talking about with Mitchell Melton, what you're talking about with Tyleik Williams, what you're talking about with JT Tuimoloau. If these guys all finish up with 6-7 sacks, then Sonny Styles can lead this team with 8 or 9. And I think with the way he blitzes, and if you just tell him to go and you point, say, this is your assignment, go do it. Yeah. CJ Hicks, I feel the same way about him in that blitz package, but Sonny Styles is special, man. He is an unbelievable athlete. You dial up a blitz for him, I think he's going to get there over half of the time.
I think Sonny would be insane standing up as defensive end. Like a stand-up DN. Like, I think he would be unreal.
Well, I think he'll have 5 sacks.
5 sacks?
I don't think he'll go over 5.
Okay.
I think he's nasty. But if this D-line's doing what they need to be doing, they don't need to be bringing Sonny all the time.
Well, you might be right about that.
I know that Jim Knowles said that he's going to be blitzing like crazy. I would see it as a personal affront as a defensive lineman if you felt like you need to bring 5-6 guys every time we were pass rushing. Let me work. Let me go to work. If our D-line can't do that with who we have on that D-line, once again we have to have a conversation.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong about that. Interceptions. Berm.
Jordan Hancock, 6.
So easy. I say Jordan Hancock as well. I already
Same
said
thing.
that. Yeah, I'm with Jordan Hancock on that.
You ready for this? Caleb Downs.
How many?
4.
It's not going to get it done.
I think 4 will.
Okay.
Jordan Hancock has personally guaranteed us he's getting at least 5. He has said it to our face.
The ball's got to go his
Are you
way.
trying to make Jordan Hancock a liar?
The ball's got to go his way.
I think he finds the ball, Zach.
Okay.
I'm going Lathan.
Lathan, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. He's got a nose for the football, too.
And safeties I think are in the best position. Cornerback, I would have gone Denzel, but you can take a cornerback out of the game.
I just don't think they'll throw on him.
Yeah, I agree. So I think Lathan, he can cover the field. I think he's gotten better every year. I think for picking a safety, Nickelback's good too, but picking a safety.
Nickelback is terrible. It's one of the worst bands of all time.
What do you mean? They're amazing.
They're classic now. It's old to hate on them. They're solid.
Yeah.
I'm old. Newsflash.
But yeah, I think Lathan will have, as a safety, he'll just have a lot more opportunities, and I think he's good enough to capitalize on them.
All right. That segment went a bunch of different directions I didn't anticipate. We still have to get to
You asked
Bryant.
for this.
I know. Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems, whatever it takes.
You forgot one.
I know, but we got to get to the end, Zach.
I
Just say
wanted
it.
touchdowns.
Total touchdowns.
Outside of Will Howard.
Emeka Ibuka. Just kidding. Jeremiah Smith.
You already said Jeremiah. You forgot.
I think he's going
Q.
to
You're
Q.
saying Quinshaw.
I'll go with Mecca.
Okay.
I love it.
How many?
I got 22 for JJ.
I think it's
I thought you said a Mecca.
I
Oh.
said just
He
kidding.
forgot.
Oh.
I didn't forget.
Okay. 22. Okay. Go ahead.
I think it's a Mecca.
Okay.
I think he's a real red zone weapon too, with some of the stuff that we've seen in practice. Like, I'm excited to see it. Like KJ Hill stuff. Just I'll leave it at that.
Quinshon's a good one, but
Yeah, like that's gotta happen. Anyway,
such a pass first. Anyways, go ahead.
Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems, whatever it takes. We are not going to make a score prediction. Bill did. But what do you need to see on Saturday against Akron for this opener to be a success? Mike, you start.
First, this one's crazy, but I want to see some fire. I want them to be hyped up for this game. I know it's Akron. I know it's early in the season. There's not much on this game, whatever. I want to see them hungry to play some ball, hungry to establish themselves as the team to beat this year. So I want to see some fire. Second, I told you at my hot take, I need to see what Will's capable of. I haven't been able to go to practices to watch him. I haven't watched him when he was at Kansas or whatever it was, Kansas State. So I'm curious. I want to see, he's got a lot of hype behind him, and I believe in it, but I want to see it. I want him to make some good passes. I want him to look poised and composed. And then the last thing I'm looking for is what I look for every season, complete and utter dominance from the D-line. I want them to be flying around. I want them to be locking people out, shedding blocks, making tackles, getting sacks, stripping the ball. We haven't seen a lot of that in the last couple of years.
Chaos.
I want to see it. Those are my 3.
Having you back on a show, I was waiting for you to say that. It's my favorite thing from back when you were on the Rooster shows. It's got to be the defensive line every single week.
Berm, he doesn't have many favorite things of yours.
I've been working with Berm a lot longer than I have Mike, so I already know what he's.
Nobody likes anything I do. It's crazy.
I do.
I just like to steal your stuff. Will you say yours so I can take it?
Yeah, okay, I gotcha. Mine's pretty easy. It's the first game of the season. Nothing's going to be perfect. Probably things are going to be sloppy. It's your first time going out, playing a different opponent. First time where actually there's no redos, right? We do it all the time. There's only
no
one
second takes.
Yeah,
out
there's
here.
no second. Yeah, there's no second takes like there is in practice all the time. Mine's one thing: explosive plays. That's it, because that sets a tone for the rest of the year. Offense, can we get some explosive plays? Can we break some long runs? Can we throw the ball down the field and get some big passes? Defense, can we make some explosive plays? That's sacks, that's turnovers, that's the explosive plays. Like, that's what you look for. Give me some highlight plays in week 1 just to feed me a little bit of, give me a little bit of taste of what's to come this year, because they could be perfect, right? We've also seen week 1 games where they win 60-0, and it's kind of just a lethargic, hey, march down the field. Hey, march down the field, right? Like, nothing really. give me some excitement on Saturday. Like, I want something to come in here and to talk with Austin on Sunday and be like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
I think it was 2007 when Ohio State beat Akron like 20-2.
Okay.
It's really stupid, right?
20-2.
Yeah, it was like
That's
it was
stressful right
3-2 at half.
That's stressful.
It was 3-2 at half. Okay, it was one of those games where you're like, what the is going on here?
Your mic dropped.
Really? That's weird. It hasn't done that all day. It's probably the right time for it to happen. If Ohio State has a 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 at any point in this game on Saturday and does not convert it by absolutely running the ball down Akron's throat, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
Oh, it dropped again.
I'm going to lose my mind. I cannot and will not, as a very impartial observer, I will not tolerate an offensive line that cannot get 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 against Akron. So
That's all you're looking for?
that's all I'm looking for.
You want them to bully Akron.
I want bully ball.
Yeah.
He wants to
100%.
see Ohio State in 4th and 1.
Yeah.
Sure. If it's what it takes.
That's not
Isn't
explosive
that the name of the
plays.
segment? Whatever it
That's
takes.
not what explosive plays.
You can have an explosive play on 4th and 1 by running the ball straight up there and
Keister.
and then busting it 80 plus.
All right.
Yeah, that's right. I am calling for going for it on 4th and 1 from the Buckeyes of 19.
Love it. What could go wrong?
I don't. If you're punting on Saturday, you're losing.
That's true.
Not losing the game. You're just losing the
mental
game.
Yeah.
You should not be punting against Akron in the year 2024.
All three of you guys are right. Watching both sides of the line of scrimmage for Ohio State is the key against Akron, because the game that I cannot get out of my mind from last year was Youngstown State, where Zach, you and I talked about
How'd they do on 3rd and 4th and short in that game?
There were problems on both offense and defense executing in short yardage situations. And Zach and I came in, and we had a Boren blitz, and we're like, how can they not get any pressures in one-on-one situations from the defense, and how can they not convert these 3rd and 2s and 4th and 1s or whatever they were? Like, I don't remember how much that happened on offense against Youngstown State, but I know for a fact that we were on Buckeye Q talking about defensive ends not winning and getting to the passer. And you can say that they were conservative. They didn't want to give up big plays. That's fine. If Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau are being blocked one-on-one against Akron on Saturday, then they should be absolutely feasting.
Unacceptable.
If Tyleik Williams is getting in situations like that where he's not getting extra attention, he should be feasting. And it's the same thing that Burns. All you guys are completely right. Ohio State needs to dominate the line of scrimmage, but that has to be on both sides of the football. Right. And we have questions like, what does it look like with right guard? We spent the entire offseason talking about the offensive line and who is going to be out there, who's going to play, what's Seth McLaughlin going to do? Is Tegra Shabola going to win this job?
Yes.
Whoever's out there's got to do it.
It's the same principle as what Will Howard said on Tuesday. If it's one-on-one, your guys are open, right? That's a mindset you have to get used to as a quarterback coming from Kansas State to Ohio State.
Right.
If Jack Sawyer or JT Tuimoloau or Tyleik Williams is one-on-one on there, they have to win that rep.
That's always since I've been there, and I'm sure before as a D lineman, if you're gonna get blocked one-on-one, that is your job to get a sack, because that means somebody else is getting double teamed when you're taking a sack from him by not getting your sack yourself. Like that is your responsibility. It's almost disrespectful if that O line or that offense is like, oh, we'll leave him single guarded. No, unacceptable. So I'm very excited to watch them play, and I think Zach said it. I'm not expecting perfection.
It's not going to be.
No, even from Will. I think I've always given a buffer of about 4 games to get your feet under you. Mm-hmm. We're not going to lose. I'm going to jinx us right now. We're not going to lose, but I just want to see the team.
That'd be a bad day.
I just want to see the team.
If you do, you're
fire.
not welcome back.
Hey, I'll be back.
Yeah.
He's coming back.
But to your point, you're right. You got helmet comms for the first time in live action, right? You have all these new things, new offense coordinator, new quarterback. There's so many different things. Plus it's game 1. Nothing's going to be perfect.
No, you just want to see the mentality.
Yeah.
You want the mentality to be right. You want them to relatively get some good execution. I expect interceptions to be thrown. I expect Akron to have a couple big plays. That is what it is. You don't like to see it, but it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I want bully ball. I want them to bully Akron.
The great news is that we get to find out on Saturday at 3:30 in the Horseshoe. Cannot wait. Absolutely can't wait. That's why it was great to get it. Even though it's just Akron, quote unquote, it's the season opener, so we had to get a little season kickoff.
The
weekend
quote goes
kickoff.
over just.
Yeah, whatever.
Not Akron.
Well, both.
It is Akron.
They are called Akron?
Akron.
Well, that's
It's
news.
just Akron. Not it's just Akron. You know what I mean?
Whatever.
These are the things we care about.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
Next thing you know, Berm's going to say, like, replacements when Falco comes back and they just snap the ball and everyone drop kicks the guys. That's what Berm's going to want. Send a message to the rest of the country.
He's trying to send a message to me, and I'm just trying to get us out of here for the end of the first season kickoff, weekend kickoff at the Fairway Columbus, which is brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. I appreciate both of those companies having us back for another season of this. I don't hate. See, now he's got it.
Freudian slip, huh?
You all heard it.
I'm so happy
This is the last episode.
to have Bill Landis, Jeremy Birmingham, Zach Boren, Michael Bennett hanging out with me and talking ball, and I'm really excited to cover the game on Saturday. We'll see you there.